And we're off. What's up, everybody? How are you? It is the 22nd of March, 2025. My name is Luke Thomas, and this is our UFC London Watchalong and Post-Fight Show. Thank you for being patient. People will have this confusion about it. I in the description box, I always tell you which fights we're going to watch, and then we'll do the post-fight show. Sometimes it's one fight, sometimes it's two fights, sometimes it's three. More commonly, it's two. But I always try to time it because the UFC typically, though not always, puts about 30 minutes of fight. So you can kind of gauge where it's going to be. But it is an estimate. They got started about 15 minutes into the broadcast, which pushed everything back. You know, some fights end quicker than others. But in any case, thank you for being here. Here we are. Co-main event is about to get started. We're going to watch the co-main, then obviously the main event, and then we'll do a post-fight show thereafter. Really appreciate you joining me. Haven't done one of these in a couple of weeks. Excited to be back here with you, of course, here on this lovely Saturday. I join you from the capital of Estados Unidos right here in Washington, D.C. If you would be so kind as to give us a thumbs up here, give me a thumbs up. That'd be great. Subscribe if you haven't. And if you want to get in anything on the screen, fire something into the super chat, and we'll do that. But if you just want to hang out and, watch the fights together, we can do that too. I appreciate everybody who's here today. Yeah? All right. Molly McCann retired. We'll talk about this, of course, in the post-fight show, but just kind of like an updating on the broadcast. Molly McCann retired. I just missed it because I was in the restroom, but people are telling me that the UFC broadcast, the lower third under Ilia Topuria, who was in attendance, was that he's the undisputed featherweight champion. God only knows what the hell that's supposed to mean. I mean, I don't even know what who knows? Who knows? Who knows at this point? Certainly not me. In any event, so that's interesting. There was a armbar in a women's fight on the prelims, and Puja Tomar had some of the worst decision making I think I've ever seen for a UFC fight. Anyway, so that wasn't great. I mean, the resiliency of her opponent. What's her name? Shauna Bannon. The resiliency that she showed was pretty fantastic, but yikes. All right. And the prelims, what would you say about the prelims? They weren't the most fun. They weren't the worst. They just kind of happened. I got to tell you, the thing that just blows my mind on this card, if I may, and we'll talk about this again on the post-fight show, Jordan Vucenic against Chris Duncan. Vucenic had, I genuinely don't know what he was thinking. He gets taken down in the first round, and it's pretty clear that his opponent is stronger than him, which is fine. No big deal. But then he starts cooking in the second or third minute of the second round with his jab. He's starting to elbow him. You can see his opponent is starting to get a little bit slower, and then he shoots from a million miles away. It doesn't go anywhere, but he was able to get back to his feet. And then he shoots again, but not kind of just runs him into the fence. And then he gets submitted. I'm like, you were winning with the jab. Clearly more, I don't know. I didn't understand that. There's a lot of very questionable decision-making. So I don't know what to say about that. I truly do not. I'm like, okay, all right. I don't do it for a living. It's far be it from me to be too condemnatory, but no, you can't do that. No, you cannot do that. Bad decisions. Bad decisions lead to bad outcomes. Let's see here. Eric, just gifting memberships. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Rossi, I can't see the sticker, but thank you just the same. And Carl says, Jan B, I see as a big underdog. I wouldn't say huge, but yes, clearly the underdog. His last two fights, although not terribly entertaining, were very close to the two best guys in the division. This is a fun one, right? We were talking about this one back and forth on Morning Combat. It's like, man, I was not a believer in Carlos Ulberg, and I think most people still have some degree of skepticism, but like his last win over Volkan Oezdemir was really, really good. On the same time, it's like he's not done what Jan Blachowicz has done in this division, not by a long shot. The problem is Blachowicz has been out for basically 2 years. He got both shoulders repaired surgically, which is not simple to come back from. He's 42 years of age. Like, you just don't know what to make of it. You're just like, well, one guy has looked to be a little bit hittable and at times a little bit chinny, but is definitely faster, more athletic, and certainly younger, 34-year-old Carlos Ulberg. At the same time, legendary Polish power, Jan Blachowicz, again, he's just done a lot more in the sport. Matter of factly, just done a lot more. Here he is right here. I think it's a big welcome back for him. It's a big welcome back. These London fans seem to be excited. By the way, they played, on the broadcast? Sweet Caroline, and it gave me AIDS. So there you go. But here we go. Co-main event about to get started. I am sober, sadly. I've got my old man drink, Diet Mountain Dew, not a sponsor, just a consumer. Delicioso. Peter says, I feel like we've gotten to the point where fighters are practicing wrestling and not training BJJ. Missing BJJ rice and beans, aka basics. I think they're training parts of BJJ, just not comprehensively. You know what I mean? Like they're picking out elements of, which of course they have to. I mean, there's certain parts you would never need, but I mean, like in a very strict kind of way, like where you're now things are missing, right? Alex, what's up? Just like Lion O, Panthro, and Chitara, Donk Stream. Oh yeah, the Thundercats. Vapes are locked and loaded. I as I mentioned to you, I am sober, but when this is over, yeah. Hey Luke, JP writes, I had a pretty good laugh at a video you quote tweeted about some dude's morning routine where he does effing all BS and for 4 hours. Did you see this thing? There's like this dude, I don't know where he's from. I didn't even listen to the audio. I guess at certain points of it he speaks, and apparently the stuff he says is like totally manufactured for the moment, which of course it is. He's like insanely jacked, credit to him, but he gets up at like 3 something in the morning to putz around and do this like dumb ass ritual about like putting his face in ice water, and he's journaling for 10 minutes and just the dumbest fucking, I mean, just the kind of thing that would only appeal to somebody who's been hit in the head with a hammer. You know what I mean? Like, and only morons, like there's only fans. They should have a service called like Only Morons, because that's only people who are going to look at that and go, oh, that's the secret to success. It's like, maybe you just read books and be nice to people and get more sleep and just exercise and kind of eat right. I mean, like it's not gonna be, and also like you're jacked that way, sir. Probably in all likelihood, I can't prove this. I don't know that, but probably because he's on gear. I mean, that's the kind of physique he had. It was, very impressive physique. I'm not even mad about it, but like, let's tell people what the real hacks are. The real hack is not journaling at 3:43 in the morning. I can fucking assure you, it's probably Winstrol. You know what I mean? Like that's that. Journaling at 4:30 in the morning and then dunking your face in ice water, Winstrol. Which one really is the hack to get at, what he's doing? Oh, right. Liam says, must not be British, or look, he's got to be British. Glad you're online. Love your analysis. I tried the JRE Fight Companion. What happens if AI taps into quantum mechanics? What then? Well, they're doing their thing. I'm not going to sit there and bash that. Johnny says, how strong is Gunnar Nelson? Single arm deadlift Holland. Yeah. But, Holland had attached to him. He didn't have to grip it in the same kind of way. And also, like, that's the best way to defend that. Just stand. Because now gravity's working against them, right? So it's quite obvious. If Kevin Holland stays at 170 and takes top contenders seriously, do you think he can at least be a title challenger? We'll talk about in the post-fight show. It's a great question. Mark my words, this person says, Tainara will be a champ one day. She looked good in her UFC debut. And last but not least, just so you don't feel alone, Luke, Sweet Caroline also gave me AIDS. All right, you and me, Magic. Okay, here we go. Round 1 coming up, co-main. Here we go. Also, here we go. Okay, and we're off. Round 1. So you'll recall when Ulberg's teammate, Israel Adesanya, fought him, one of the issues is he likes to use leg kicks for any number of reasons. Range finding, damage, setting up other attacks, the whole nine. And Blachowicz was extremely good at checking them and nullifying them. And one of the things that I had thought might happen, which, no grand insight, was that here Blachowicz would be on the front foot and Ulberg would be using lateral movement on the outside. This is only a 3-round contest, so that's not necessarily prohibitively difficult for him, but something to pay attention to. This kind of movement in this particular dimension could prove quite decisive as a tiring factor. Good leg kick so far from Ulberg. Blachowicz returns favor. Boy, I gotta say, for 42, Blachowicz looks good. I mean, we're a minute into the fight, but still. And it's hard to know exactly what the title implications of this would be, but there have to be some. Blachowicz, former champion, well-liked. Ulberg, seemingly one of the only contenders that hasn't fought for one, where this would be a decisive enough win potentially that could put him in that place. It's a fresh matchup. Obviously, they've got business to attend to with Magomed Ankalaev and Poatan having a rematch. But, people have talked about this being a Final Four. I got to say, Ulberg's getting some of these through, these leg kicks. Ulberg kind of faking low and then going high with his jab. He's trying to get Blachowicz to step when he throws that leg kick, or at least to freeze him. Nice inside leg kick there by Blachowicz. Very good jab to the body, outside leg kick from Blachowicz. Many of these are, you can see, affecting Ulberg's balance. Yeah, he's got to start getting a little bit busier here. You got to give Blachowicz something to think about. Pay attention to the individual weapons Ulberg selects depending on which way he is circling. Does better some of those feints. You got to put something behind it, obviously, but Ulberg doing a little too much waiting around for me. I understand he wants to counter, but nevertheless, or at least it looks like he wants to counter. Good check by Blachowicz, and then he falls. Dude, nice leg kicks from Blachowicz. His are landing with much more authority, and good defense getting out of the way, too. Another good check. That was better from Ulberg. Ulberg, you notice, went a little higher that time to the inside of the thigh. Man, Ulberg, you got to put something in his face, man. You could see Blachowicz going high-low, or excuse me, low-high, nearly catching Ulberg on that one. Ulberg's got to keep that right hand cocked. Good jab from Ulberg. Nice jab. Good round. I'm going to give that one. I wasn't judging it hardcore. I'm going to give that one to Blachowicz. It looked to me like he did more damage which again, if that's the most relevant concern, then everything else comes secondary to that. It's pretty even, but I thought Blachowicz landed the harder shots overall. If you disagree, by all means, please let me know. They do have an OnlyFans for morons. It's called X. But see, it's not really just morons on there. It's just like the Third Reich, man. Just insanely, racist people. Kay says, I finished Fentanyl Inc. and just picked up Drug Use for Grownups. Thanks for reading recommendations from your live chat. That's what I'm here for, buddy. That's what I'm here for. Rundum Cheek says, what's up, Luke? My stream is way behind yours. Thank you, ESPN Plus. That's what I'm using. I'm using ESPN Plus. That's what I'm using for, all of its glory. All right. I'm not going to see this Woman in the Yard movie. I can assure you that. Here we go. All right. Round 2. Yeah, Ulberg's got to get busier. And I don't just mean throwing, but like just doing something to get Blachowicz to react. This is better. Double jab right hand. It didn't get through, but it gives him now space. He can now throw. If he wants to counter backing up, now he's got a bit of a lane to go. It's just more. I'm not big on obviously just telling guys to do more, although you see something like Merab, where you can just have a labor-intensive style and it can work quite well. But that doesn't work for everybody, and you have to be quite careful about managing your resources. But again, this is a 3-round fight, so it's nice fake to the shot. He didn't go for it, but you got to use more of your athletic gifts, buddy. That was good from Ulberg. Good left kick following to the left hand, similar to what you saw Vucenic get dropped with, I believe. Yeah, Ulberg's landing some of these leg kicks, but he's having to go a little higher, which means he has to get a little closer, which means it looks to me like he's just not throwing with the same kind of intensity. It's more like just touching. And then there's a low blow. All right, they didn't stop the clock, so. Oof. Both guys that land punches there, land hooks. Ulberg uses it to turn. Good check again from Blachowicz. Oh my God. Ulberg just lunges into range with a right hand. RK closes the distance. This is good. All right. Oh, this is good. Clinches up for a little bit, changing it up a little bit. That's nice. Using some of that speed. My clock is a little fast, maybe like 2 seconds to 3 seconds fast. Hard leg kick from Blachowicz. Yeah, he's just touching Blachowicz with his own. He's not landing with authority. You could see he's very nervous about it, bouncing in and out, trying to raise that heel as fast as he can. Man, Ulberg looking for that left hook over and over. He loves that left hook, but there's not really a spot for it. This is a better round for Ulberg. I don't know if he's winning it, but he's not taking as many of the hard leg kicks I think he got in the first. Yeah, look at the numbers. They kind of speak to that. But this is what I mean about just making Blachowicz. He's got these big defensive reactions, right? Blachowicz doesn't slip and then counter. He backs up. He brings his hands up. Like you can occupy him with feinting and either offense or things that look like offense to him. And that can slow him down. It's an ugly way to win, but it can get the job done. Now you're up against the fence. You got to keep moving. And at 42, I look at him. It looks to me like Blachowicz is like slowed down. He's still got some hard leg kicks. Good right hand to the body for Ulberg. Oh, nice jab from Blachowicz. Okay, so I feel like Blachowicz won the first one. He might have won this one. I don't know. I don't know about that one. So it's either 2-0 Blachowicz or 1-1. Again, I'm not really watching as a judge. Like, I'm trying to pay attention to more of the technique that they're using, but seems that way. Cody says, pirating the stream even though I pay for ESPN. What a joke they are. I really hope the UFC leaves them behind. Yeah, well, they might. They might. All right, round 3 coming up. I'm going to try and get my clock a little bit more where theirs is. I mean, I'll just say this. I'm not seeing in the case of either Blachowicz or Ulberg anybody that I think can beat Ankalaev, and probably not Poatan either. I mean, it's a different fight because they'd probably try to wrestle Poatan, but like Ulberg on the feet with him, I don't know about that. All right, here we go. WrestleMania tickets. Okay. Round 3. So maybe Ulberg needs a finish. I don't know. Blachowicz right away coming out with more urgency, and Ulberg switching stance a little bit. Yeah, Sean Sheehan saying it's 1919 maybe. That's right. I can't quite tell. Judges might be all over the place on this one. Pretty critical to win this one. Dude. Ulberg real good about turning off that hook and reclaiming center, but now you got to use it. There's the takedown. He's going to clinch off of it. Let's see what he does with it. This is better. Covers his head to the other side. That was good by Ulberg. It's nice. Making him work. This is better. Make this dude work. He's 42. Nice jab from Ulberg. This is better. He's mixing the martial arts. What do you know? Nice right hand to the body from Ulberg. Oh. Right hand, I think, somewhat got through, although Blachowicz was able to roll with it a little bit. But look at that sweet. Look how easily Blachowicz just gets Ulberg backed up off that, man. Oh my God. Man, Ulberg in the line of fire on to commit to that inside leg kick. Oh, that's 2 times Blachowicz has landed that left knee or left leg, and then the left hand right behind it. That one was a knee to the hand. First one was a kick to the hand. Halfway through the 3rd round. You know, Carlos Ulberg has some nice weapons. He does, but he doesn't have a lot of weapons. He doesn't have like a lot of offensive avenues by which to pursue a fight. He's got a few of them, and either they work or they don't. And if they don't, then there's really not like another place to go. That was a good jab from Ulberg. You can see Ulberg's trying to slip to the outside of the jab and then cover the space to come over the top with his own right. He hasn't quite really made that work yet. Oh, good left hand there from Ulberg. Okay, minute 30 left. There's Blachowicz trying to go for a takedown. No doing. It's another close round, man. If someone here can have a strong minute, they can just take the whole thing. There's again Ulberg trying to turn off that lead hook. Man, this is a close round. Bit of a clash of heads, maybe? Accidental? Something like that. $20 seconds to go. Good left to the body from Blachowicz. He blitzes here. Look, he's just walking Ulberg down, man. Hard leg kicks from Blachowicz. Oh, good left hand, too. That's it. I think Blachowicz takes it. He didn't look to me like somebody who can win the title, but I think he takes it. What are they doing? Screaming each other's faces? Yeah, I think he takes it. I don't know if it's a lock, but I think he takes it. I genuinely think he should take that. We shall see. Carlos is the Jake Matthews of light heavyweight. Jake Matthews is a good fighter. Doesn't like media advocating for him to get a pay raise, though. He hates that. What do you guys think? Anybody think Ulberg won that? I don't think he did. I mean, I suppose it's conceivable. I suppose it's possible. I just don't think that's the best scorecard. I think the best scorecard is probably 29-28 Blachowicz, right? Something like that. Let's see what they come up with. What you got? Look at this. Eric just out here gifting memberships like a mensch. God bless him. All right. Bud Light, great. Let's move it along. Cuervo, I do like Cuervo. Shouts to the good folks at Cuervo. They take good care of us over at MK. All right. Here's your decision. All three, 29-28. Going to be Jan, right? No! Carlos wins. I can see it. But am I imagining things? Did anybody, was I wrong? I mean, okay, obviously I am wrong. He didn't win, but did anybody else have Blachowicz winning that one? Am I crazy? Again, when I do these broadcasts, it is very, very difficult to like judge and watch at the same time when you're trying to do other things and narrate and blah, blah, blah. BC always talks about this when he does boxing broadcasts. You know, he loves to do as many things as possible, but it does become a challenge when they ask him to do like an unofficial scorecard at the same time, because you just never know where your score should be. It's tough to do. It wasn't like I thought, like, I mean, this was a close fight. I recognize it's a close fight. This is not some robbery by any stretch of the imagination. It's a close fight. Fair enough. And again, I guess second and third rounds you'd probably give to Ulberg if you had to give him any of the two. But I kind of thought Blachowicz edged that one, if I can be honest with you. All right, so there's probably your next title contender right there. I mean, again, they're going to do the rematch with Ankalaev and Poatan, but it's going to be Ulberg after that. It looks like young guy, fresh name, you know, marketable. They're going to do it. They're going to do it. All right. Well, again, thank you for joining me. Thumbs up on here. Yeah. Subscribe if you haven't. You want to get something on the screen, fire it into the super chat, and we'll go from there. Now we're just waiting for that main event. We're just waiting for the main event. I want to see if anyone on Twitter had that one for Blachowicz. Now I want to see how Ilia Topuria goes off on Charles Oliveira. Charles, it's better. This is Ilia Topuria talking. Charles, it's better if you stay quiet. You have 10 losses, 5 by knockout, 4 by submission, and 1 by decision. You are the contender while I am the champion, the father of the entire division. I haven't come here to ask for anything. Here, I am the one in charge. Okay. All right. I mean, you guys know I'm pretty pro Ilya, but just gotta settle down there, bud. I'm trying to see if anyone else had that one. Yeah, some other people I'm definitely seeing some other ones saying, yeah, I see some 29-28s for Ulberg too. Yeah. I mean, it's all over the place. Yes, it's quite all over the place. That's what you're going to get there. All right, fair enough. So I'm not crazy. I'm not like totally out of my mind. I just want to make sure that's true. Rossi says, just want to let you know they remodeled the Big Chicken in Marietta a few years ago. You should see it in all its glory. You would be proud. I don't care if it burns down or if it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, I'll never go again. Jake says, always been a big fan. Lost a parent myself. Love both you and BC. Keep it up. Yeah, thanks, my friend. Thank you, Jake. Appreciate you, bud. All right, Alex says, Jan should have won 29-28. I just can't see Ulberg winning 2 rounds. I can see it. I just don't think it's the best scorecard, but it's close. It's close, dude. It's close. And, you know, again, credit to Jan. Basically 2 years, surgeries. He's 42. That's tough. That's a tough assignment like that. That's a really tough assignment. So I understand that. Carlos Yuri next. I don't think they're going to burn Carlos on Yuri. I honestly think they're going to just move him straight to the title. They might do Yuri and Jan or something like that. I just don't think they're going to make Carlos wait, anymore. Carl asks, can Brady replicate Bilal's game plan striking? So this was something I went over. We're talking about the main event now here. Obviously, Leon Edwards taking on Sean Brady. This was something I went over on Friday's MK. And I talked about this. I did a breakdown on this channel. If you can't get it, it's on my Substack. If you're looking where my Substack is, there's a link below. You can check that out. But the point I wanted to make was Belal and his team came up with very specific entries to takedowns and then very particular routes they wanted to go once they got the takedown, like how they wanted to proceed to the back. Obviously, the goal was to get to the back, right? Once they got to the back, they felt like they could hold it, they could win the round from there, and they were right. They actually were. That was a very correct assumption. And as I've talked about it a million times at this point, if you just notice every single time when he goes for these shots, Belal has his head on one particular side. He has it on the right side of Leon. And they surmised, if you just look at the tape, it kind of speaks to it, but they were right. They said that his right hand does not very much get involved in wrestling defense or down blocking or framing when anyone else goes for takedowns. So they kept bringing Bilal's head to that side, and it was very, very effective as a result. But a couple of things. One, I mean, Leon has to know like what had happened there and make some adjustments. And two, Belal has actually a pretty good, like very explosive shot. Like he has a deep level change and like an explosive penetration step into the opponent. And Brady is not exactly that kind of a way. Brady is more of a establish contact with you and then work from there. And so, it's just a different setups create different realities. So it's like, can you follow Bilal's game plan? Well, once he establishes the takedown such that he might be able to follow he might be able to follow similar routes to the back, right? Assuming that's what he wants as well. And I would imagine that he does. Remember, Sean Brady, not just a good wrestler in his own way, but I would actually argue much better at jiu-jitsu. I actually think on the ground, his real skill is submissions from on top, not so much from guard, but you get the idea. So it's like, can you follow Muhammad's game plan? Well, you can pick up on some of the core insights that they used to establish their game plan, but Brady is a different guy. So, with different athletic abilities, different tendencies, different likes, different dislikes, different things, he had different core competencies. You got to build around that. So I'm actually kind of curious, to be perfectly honest. I think what he's going to try and do is, Leon is also not good about slipping and then countering. He is one of these guys, right? They're going to try and occupy his guard, and then from there began a rinse cycle of different takedowns that they're going to chain together and see what happens from there on out, right? I think that's what is likeliest to happen here, but we shall see. All right, there's Sean Brady in all his glory. When you see him in person, we had him in the studio. When you see him in person, you think he has bad posture. If you see him just from the side, it looks like he's hunched over. And then when you go up to him, and you notice he's not hunched over. He's just got a back like fucking prime Evander Holyfield. I mean, it's a goddamn turtle shell, just fucking, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous when you see him in person. Like the camera doesn't do it justice. It's ridiculous. Chloe says, totally thought Jan won. Okay. No, Luke, you don't have a female fan. I'm just using my girl's YouTube premium. Love the content at your takes. Yeah, no worries. Whatever. You know what, bud? I appreciate it just the same. Tell your significant other thanks. Worst hotel experience while traveling. My dad one time made me and my brother go on a cross-country trip, and we had to sleep in his station wagon. And this was in the 1980s in campgrounds. When we got to my grandma's house in Oklahoma, we smelled so bad she wouldn't even. I was like, 7 or 8. Just to be clear, I'm dependent on adults to make good decisions. And we got to my grandma's house, and she was so appalled at the way we smelled that she made us, in our bathing suits, shower in the front yard. That's with a garden hose and shampoo there, and just yelling at my dad for being like, what were you doing? Miss Georgetown hoops being relevant in March. You know what? I do love DC, but I don't give a fuck about Georgetown. Shouts to Allen Iverson, Patrick Ewing, all that kind of stuff. But I don't listen. I have friends. I have a lot of friends that went to Georgetown, and I love my friends that went to Georgetown. But when it comes to them being sports fans from Georgetown, they're unbelievably annoying. And I hate that part. Right and Wrong says, for folks that have problems with ESPN Plus, but also have Hulu, connect them and use Hulu's user interface for ESPN cards. Fewer technical issues. I have heard many people say this. I've heard many people recommend this. All right, here's Leon Edwards looking ready to go. Max says, close fight, talking about the co-main. Not a robbery, but I think it was clear enough that Jan was the winner. Carlos seemed to be only lightly touching him. That's what I thought too. And then Rossi says, in all fairness, I've never actually eaten at the Big Chicken because why the F would I? Yeah, right. All right. Here is Leon Edwards, born in Kingston, Jamaica. One of 5 Jamaican-born fighters in UFC history. Is the UFC still selling NFTs? Is that still a thing? What was that called? Like UFC Strike? Are they still doing that? Are people still buying them? NFTs were one of those things where you could be like, I mean, again, I don't know what the current state of. Dude, I tell you what, Leon Edwards looks like he's in good shape. He looks like he's in good shape. I know there were concerns about him potentially having staph. He admitted he kind of did have it, but the question was like how long ago, and again, how long the course of antibiotics was, and blah blah blah. He looks to be in tremendous condition. All right, there he is. And now he's in the octagon. Okay, here we go. Was anyone else ever considered for MK, or was it designed specifically for you and BC from jump? Me and BC from the jump. I think Long Island Luke's a great addition. Yes, of course he is. But and it's in 2019, it was only me and him. Well, in terms of designs. Dawood says, Luke, I know you aren't a fan of fiction books, but have you read Catch 22 long time ago? Yeah, I mean, okay, guys, I'm not like utterly illiterate on some of the, it's like you may have never heard of this book, but Crime and Punishment, it is a page turner. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm familiar. I am familiar. All right, 6'2" versus 5'10" in this one. That is significant. That's going to be good for, I mean, assuming it stays at range, that's certainly helpful. It's always easier not to punch up or even straight, but to punch down. Now, if there's a huge difference, it can become a little bit of a problem. But I want to, and also knees. Whenever there's a significant height differential, pay attention to knees. Like Dan Hooker makes feasts on people who, you know, especially wrestlers who try to get low and threaten them, right? Which you might see here. Something to pay attention to. It may play no role, but duly noted, right? All right, look at the crowd. Pretty good crowd. Pretty good crowd. Does not appear to be a sellout, but it looks to be well attended. Oh, they're calling it sold out. I don't know. There definitely appears to be empty seats. Maybe these donks are in the bathroom. I don't know. Here's Buff. It's crowd is pumped. And of course, as you hear now, it is a 5-round fight, unlike the last one. Ange says, I appreciate all the work you do and can't wait for all you have to offer on Substack. Yeah, I got some stuff cooking. Stay tuned. Thank you. All right, there he is out of Philly. It's a tough city, boy. It's tough motherfuckers that come out of there. I kind of like how he's got no nicknames, like fuck nicknames. You know what I mean? All right, here's Leon Edwards. What's it say on his mouthpiece? Can't see. Is it Rocky or something? There he is, Leon Rocky Edwards. All right, let's see this face off. Do they touch gloves? Here we go. Nope, they sure don't. All right, love it. Even better. Here we go. Round number 1, Edwards versus Brady, potentially for a title shot. Here we go. Jason Herzog's your referee. Here we go. Ooh, Brady comes right after him. Open stance, pay attention to foot positioning, and also pay attention to potential head clashes. This is a standard disclaimer on open stance fights. Brady going to get right to work on him. Good. So far, good job by Leon. Good job with the lead hand fight. Oh, that was fantastic how he held the hand with his right and then used the left. Brady kind of lunging in a little bit. Leon can see it all coming right now. Look at Leon. There it is. That's what he wanted. Okay, so now Brady has the underhook. Let's see what he can do with it. See what I mean? He's not a level change kind of like hardcore shot guy. He likes to tie up, and then from these tie-ups, slowly begin to work things. He doesn't get one here, but like just pay attention. Let's see if he ever does like a hard. He might do a shot to like grab a hold, but not as like a full-on takedown. A lot of level changing, as you would imagine, from Brady. There he clinches up. He's got the underhook. He's going to try and walk him into the fence. Obviously, Edwards is going to want no part of that, and has so far doing a great job resisting it. And good head position from Edwards as well. Good job. We talked about the elbow in the clinch. And by the way, that was what I said on MK. Is this fight? Ooh, nice job from Brady there. Got a couple punches through. Was that this fight was going to be decided in the clinch? Not every single instance of the clinch, but like ultimately who controls what happens in that position is going to dictate, you know, if it's Edwards able to shut it down and disengage, then it will be him. If it's Brady who can find ways to underhook and then eventually get him to the fence or, you know, hit a fireman's carry or something, well, then it'll be Brady, right? But ultimately, the who can dictate what happens in these moments over the course of this bout, I think is going to be your winner. And so far, it's pretty nil, but I'm going to give the edge to Edwards. And again, watch that elbow on the clinch break. That is one of Edwards' signature weapons. Good job getting underneath that, rolling through, and Edwards off the pivot. Yeah, Edwards does look fast. There's that underhook. Again, great job nullifying it by Edwards thus far. He's got the tie clinch. Let's see. Man, Edwards can see him coming. So Edwards not slipping, but he's taking just like a half step back to like intercept him, which is there like that. He didn't throw that time. There it is. Okay, so now, so this is what I mean. Do you see what I mean? Bilal doesn't do this. I mean, he'll do it on occasion, but like he shoots. Brady clinches, drives, and then begins to work if he can. We will see if he can here. It's a slow grinding effort. Remember, I think he got like maybe one takedown against Gilbert early and then got like 4 in the last 2 rounds and 3 in one of them. Again, assuming it goes that long. Brady letting himself get turned here. That's surprising. Pay attention to the glove control here by Edwards in this position. He did the exact same grip up to Kamaru Usman. Great job nullifying the clinch there by Edwards. Again, so far he's doing a very good job controlling this position. Good position on the hip. Oh, nice turn by Brady. Fantastic. He used that position that he had on the inside leg to turn him that direction. That was nice. He's not going to get anything from it here. It's a little too late, but, you know, kind of sending notice here a little bit. There he is. Yeah, probably an Edwards round because he just did the better damage, but decent effort certainly from Sean Brady. Leon's mouthpiece says, yeah, I don't think anyone cares enough about me to do anything like that. So interesting first round. Some of the things that we all thought were going to happen, some of the fault lines that we had identified, I think definitely materialized. Edwards looking fast, looking sharp. The question is, can he maintain that? We shall see. For Brady, you got to get hit a little bit less on some of these entries, and you got to make a little bit more. Let's see this takedown. That was a nice stab to the body there from Edwards on this replay. Good left hook, right straight, and then a swivel jab from, oh, look at that Sasai he hit. Great Sasai from Sean Brady. Here we go. Ref warns Leon Edwards. Oh, big double. Big double. Straight into it. Now, he doesn't get the double, but he's now behind the elbows of Edwards, and this is a noteworthy position. Let's see if he can maintain. But okay, if you're Sean Brady, you got a lot of objectives here. If you're Sean Brady, you got a lot of objectives here. Oh, behind the kneecaps on both of them. He's going to roll them through here. Wow. Okay, that was sick. That was fucking sick from Sean Brady just now. Did you see that? He used that inside space to collapse both behind the knees, then goes into the far side one and uses that to roll him over to get up on top. He's got the bottom clamp. He doesn't need this top one necessarily, but he's got to get his head. Sean Brady's head is in the wrong position here. He's got to get his head in a better position. He's got to be careful. Now he's got control of both hips. Let's see what happens. This is much better. But if you're the one choking, or at least attempting to choke, you want to have your head on bottom. Now he's got him on the choking arm, so now it's less relevant. But so you're asking about following Bilal's game plan. Totally different entry to get there. But now that he got there, look what he's doing. Same kind of setup. And now he's got the body triangle on the back. This is nice. This is good work from Sean Brady. So that was interesting, right? He comes out in the first round, and what's he doing? You know, I'm playing this game a little bit, and we're doing high-low and all that kind of stuff. Second round, right out for the takedown, wasting no time. Okay, and this is what I mean about like what Sean Brady's true strength is. This is his true strength. But now you can see, to the extent Edwards can create chest to back asymmetry, right? If I got like this, I've got good back control. If the person on bottom can begin to create asymmetry, that's when the problems begin to emerge. But with that body triangle, that's going to be pretty difficult to do. All right, halfway through the round for round two. And I'm seeing some people gave round one to Sean Brady. I didn't, but I can understand. Again, it was close. It was close. He's just getting harassed here. And Leon's getting squeezed. Okay, he loses the body triangle. He's going to come up on top. There it is. Let's see if you can slow him down here. Let's see if he sits for a guillotine or not. I doubt he will. He's going to try and roll him over. Let's see. Covers that space. Wow, dude, that was good. Leon had a nice sit-up on that one. Brady covered that position perfectly, hand on the ribs. Did you see that? To slow the ascent. And now he's up on top. Let's see if he can isolate this arm or he can wrap behind the head. Yep. What you're looking for here in this position, and Brady already did it, he's got Edwards' elbow off the canvas. You see that? He's got it off the canvas. Now he's got his hand wrapped all the way through. He's got to get that. He's got to get the other hand to pull out on that one. But it's to the extent you can lift the elbow and get underneath it, that's when you got the problems, right? Just like where you're watching now. This is a very strong position for Sean Brady. Good round for him, man. Real good round. Here it is. He's scooted up into it. You notice he didn't bring the arm to himself. He brought himself to the arm. Okay, now he's got it to the side. Loses it. Good job. He's going to scoop underneath. Again, let's see. Okay, so you see how the elbow goes back down, but what does he do? He then moves to mount. Now he gets the back. Edwards tries to kick out the far hook. He can't do it. He's just getting pounded on here. Brady nearly loses it, keeps that hook, extends on the hook. Look at him extending on the hook to keep Leon seated. grabs behind the thigh, comes on top, sits on the left arm. Man, there is a big difference in their grappling ability. There is a big difference. Leon is obviously knows what his defensive responsibilities are, but Brady is much better. Strong round for Sean Brady. Strong round. I don't think Leon got mauled because a lot of those shots were from suboptimal positions, but he got drained there for sure. Has Shab or Rogan approached you about doing a fight companion? Never. All right. Leon, I didn't see the whole rest period between the first and second rounds, but for that round, it looked like he stood the whole time. He's definitely sitting now. Wow, dude. He landed 0 fucking strikes in round 2. Edwards, 0. Holy crap. All right, here we go. Round 3. Plenty of fight left. Nobody has any ability to start getting cocky. Okay, round 3. Here we go. Brady with a couple of body kicks. He almost gets hit with an uppercut rushing in. Man, he has got to be careful. Oh, there's that elbow. Edwards is timing Brady coming in. Brady's got to give him something. Yeah, there it is. He's got to run. There, he got to run to the underhook. Runs to the underhook again. Holds him there. Let's see if he can walk him to the fence. This is better for Brady. Leon shoots. Dude, Leon, what the fuck are you doing, bro? What the fuck are you doing shooting on this dude? He gets snapped back down. Did you just see them? Did you just see Sean Brady snap him back down? Oh, here it is. He's going to roll him over. Just like, dude, what a fucking terrible decision by Leon Edwards. Absolutely moronic decision to shoot on Sean Brady there. What are you thinking? I'm not even mad because I like Sean Brady. I'd be completely thrilled with Sean Brady winning here, but like, oh, okay. Sean Brady's in fucking mount. It blows my mind how many times you watch elite prize fighters make absolutely baffling decisions. Sean Brady making good decisions in mount, and you notice it's the kind of mount where you're pancaking the guy to reduce his ability to use his hips or feet to explode. All right, he's going to let him roll here, staying on top. Let's see what he does. Look at how far Brady is draped over him to make him carry the weight. Oh, man. Brady is teeing off on him. Here comes Brady around the back, holding the head in place while he does that. Did you see that? Dude, what a ridiculous decision by Lee. He still might win the fight, of course, but just unnecessarily putting himself in this position. Just ridiculous. Look at this dude behind him now. He's going to ride him and see if he can sit up from his back legs. There he is, kicks out the post leg. And now he's going to try and Turk here a little bit. Let's see. Looks like he's going to hold the far ankle. He's going to try and strip the inside one. There it is. And now he's going to come back on top, and Leon's going to be trapped underneath. Look at how far Brady's body is over every time Leon tries to underhook. He's in those positions because he gets to them first, because he can anticipate the reactions and where he needs to be to do that. It takes a lot of mat time to get to that. But you'll notice by the time Leon is firing these underhooks underneath, the right thing to do, he's already getting it weighed on, and he can't make it useful. Golly, man. What a terrible decision to shoot. A terrible decision to shoot. Like I said, he still could end up winning this fight. Maybe this round looks more like this. They come back out in the next round and he smokes Brady with an elbow or something. Who knows? Like, I mean, it's not necessarily fatal in that sense. But, if he ends up losing this round and then if it ends up being like 3 rounds that Brady wins and you just gave him one, I mean, what are we doing? Okay, you can see Brady. Look he has the left leg. Now he gives it every time. Okay. Brady doing everything he needs to hook the legs with his own legs to slow Edwards down and then use that defense to then move to the next position in terms of like the hierarchy of where he wants to be to close out the fight. Okay, he's flattening him here now. And now he's just banging on Edwards. He's going, it's interesting. He's at times he's flattening out Edwards to go for ground and pound, and then at other times he's letting Edwards get a little bit of height, and I think to both, make him carry his weight as well as potentially open the throat. Dude, why did you shoot? Why did you shoot? I cannot fucking believe that. This was the welterweight champion of the world. This guy doing this? Sean Brady looks like he's in great physical condition too. Okay, so this is a questionable call by Brady. Now it's late in the round. Actually, it's not that questionable. But pulling Edwards on top of him, yes, he's got good control of him. But this is one of those ones where they could spin on top and then they can rain down elbows and it becomes a problem. But there's no time left in the round, so it doesn't really matter. Oh my God, I cannot believe he punted that round away. Look at this. Look at them showing the replay. Look at this. How indefensible. Indefensible. This fight shows just how good Bilal is. Yeah, he's good. He's really good. He earned my respect for sure. This can turn into a beating. Yeah, especially if Leon makes ass decisions like that. Totally irrelevant, but Bert Kreischer may be unfunny, not very talented, but he's the reason I know there's hope for me to be successful. Okay, guys, let's keep it focused on the fights if we can. Leon donked out bad that round. Oh, my God, he did. I can see it now. The opponent switched on a few weeks' notice. Leon, the excuse maker, Edwards, headshot. Hey, hold on. There's plenty of fight left. Don't get cocky. I know. He donked up that round. I mean, that was Leon. Instead of Leon Rocky Edwards, he was Leon Donkey Edwards in that round. DONK-Y. Here we go. Okay, round 4, championship rounds. So it is pretty clear at this juncture that Brady certainly winning this contest and certainly growing confidence. And the most important takeaway is that he has a massive advantage on the ground. There is just a gigantic difference in ability grappling, right? This is terrible for Leon. Terrible. I cannot overstate this. Brady is a nightmare grappler for people. And the reason why I say that is, I mean, I just want to be clear. Look at him pulling the elbow off the floor. You see that with his left arm, not letting him get down to the floor. And now he has control of that space. This will prove relevant for any particular submissions. No, he's not going to get behind. Brady has this very important combination of being highly technical and strong as fuck. He might get this guillotine, folks. Here we go. He's going to get the lat on one side and the arm on the other. This might do it. This might do it. He's pulling on his shorts. Referee, he's pulling on the shorts. This might be it. This might be it. That might be it. That's it. There he goes. That's it. And he was fucking cheating the whole time. Sean Brady has arrived, ladies and gentlemen. Sean Brady has arrived. What a performance from him. What a performance from him. He went out there and he took Leon's confidence from him and finished him off in round 4. What a performance for him. What a performance. What an unbelievably piss poor performance from Leon Edwards. Giving away the third round that way he did. Absolutely unforgivable for a championship level fighter. And believe me, I'm okay. I picked Brady to win yesterday on MK. Well, I've been a big Brady booster. I'm thrilled for him. He finally arrived and turned into something great. I cannot believe how bad Leon's decision making was. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. So hang on here for just a second, folks. Let's take a look at some of these highlights. Here's Brady with this double underneath, turns him off the fence, steps over the far leg. His positioning is so fucking good. And so he's going to wrap just like that. And you're going to see him slowly weave that right hand underneath. You see that? So the lat does half the choking, and then the hand does the other half. And then he fed it to the other side. And that's when he was really able to, when he could drive his hip in, just like that. Just like that. Dean Thomas is there, the whole nine. What a great job. What a great job. I'm happy for him. I'm thrilled for Sean Brady. I'm so thrilled. Sean Brady is a fucking problem because he is highly technical and also incredibly powerful. And that is such a dangerous combination. Such a dangerous combination. A lot of these guys are like, they're not, these jiu-jitsu guys who are highly technical, they can use leverage to become strong, right? They can use position to become strong, but they have a real hard time, just using raw horsepower. Joe Silva has a quote about Frank Mir. He said, Frank Mir is what happens when technique meets horsepower. That's what happens with Sean Brady. Sean Brady is what happens when technique meets horsepower. For the welterweights, not the heavyweights. Okay. As a reminder, we're going to do the post-fight show here in just a minute. So if you've got a question for the broadcast, for what we're going to do here, fire it into the super chat now. We're going to get to it. We're going to talk about everything we just saw. We're going to talk about what it all means. We're going to do the whole 9 yards. We're going to do a post-fight show right now, and then we'll get it going. All right, here's your... All right. All right. I think he asked him, that was round 4. Let's see what Sean Brady has to say. $198, he says, when they weighed him in the back. Oh, Bilal Muhammad tweeting headshot dead. He said Brady was going to win too. Go Birds. Yeah. He is so Philly. It's fucking hilarious. He's so Philly. That's so freaking funny. All right. Let's do this. Let me tell the folks on Twitter the post-fight show is going to start, and then we're going to get it started. Okay. All right. Calling my wife to wake her up. Okay. Guys, give me 1 second. I have to go wake up my wife from a nap. That is a real thing I have to do. And then we will get this going. Give me 1 second. I promise I will be. Let's do this. I'll be right back. Hang on. Hang tight. Okay. All right. Let's do this. Let me mute this so we can get this going in a way that is not distracted. I'm going to close that out. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Luke Thomas. Let's do it. UFC London is now in the books. Now begins the post-fight show. If you're watching, thumbs up on the video if you'd be so kind. I really appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't. That'd also be awesome. And most importantly, if you have a question or comment about anything that we saw today and you want to get it on the screen, if you'd be so kind, throw something into the super chat. It goes a long way. It's very helpful. But of course, if you just want to be here to watch and hang out, I appreciate that just the same as well. Okay? All right. So here's what we got to do. We got to get this started. So without further ado, vamos. All right. All right. Here we are. Let's pull this up. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Our neighbor texted us. They're like, the trunk of your car is open. And we have like an SUV. So like the whole door came up. It's just open right in the middle of a major metropolitan city. That's not always the best. But we fixed it. Okay. We have nice neighbors. All right. Let's do it. We're going to pull this up here as well. I want to get these results. Let's see here. Get this going. Okay. Let's do this. So we begin. This was UFC Fight Night Edwards versus Brady, UFC Fight Night 225, UFC on ESPN Plus 113, whatever you want to call it. That was the event. It is now in the books. Okay. This took place at the O2 Arena in London, England. In your main event, here we go. Sean Brady defeats Leon Edwards via guillotine choke at 139 of the fourth round. This was mostly one-way traffic, and I have to say, I want to start with the winner, but we're going to get to the loser in this one because if you're just joining us, you may have missed this, but if you were watching before, I cannot believe the performance that Leon turned in. I find it to be bad to the point of almost indefensible, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's start with the winner. This is Sean Brady's breakout moment. You just watched it. You know, this was a guy who we had kind of seen early on as somebody to pay attention to, somebody who could do interesting things, certainly had a unique look, but that's not really all that relevant. It's the style of his game. He had really good wrestling, really, and more importantly, much better. He has what they would call like something close to like mat, grappling, like mat wrestling versus just like dominant takedowns in that way. And I think you saw a lot of that evidence tonight. I think that's what was on display. But the point is that, against Michael Chiesa, there wasn't a lot of ground and pound. He kind of won on positional control, and he would be the first to admit that. And then against Muhammad, his fight just went quite poorly in that particular case. It was fits and starts. Okay, and he turns a corner and he beats Gilbert Burns, but Gilbert Burns was like 38, and what's it going to, it's quite valuable, but it doesn't necessarily prove like you're ready for a breakout as like a true title contender in that division. Well, that performance did. He handled Leon Edwards. Let's just say exactly what it was. He had a feel out round in the first round, and then he went to work on him. Sean Brady wore Leon Edwards out today like he worked him today like a summer job. That's what happened today. Sean Brady worked Leon Edwards like a summer job. First round was kind of close. Nothing else that happened afterwards was. Now, they weren't necessarily like 10-8 rounds in that particular sense, but Leon was totally controlled. He was dominated positionally, and Leon knows what he's doing on the ground. So he is now looking for escapes or reversals or anything he can do to just kind of get back to his feet, somehow reverse his fortunes. And every time he did, there was Sean Brady slamming the door in his face on every occasion. Sean Brady's top game, he grapples in such a way where you look like you are trapped under a sheet of fucking ice. Oh, it has to be hell to be underneath him. He doesn't make positional mistakes. His gripping all looks good. He knows when to use top pins, how to use Turks, how to use rides, how to go from rides to now positional advancement. What are the windows in which you have to do it, and what are you waiting for? And all of it is second nature. Doesn't necessarily have the most like, oh my God, overwhelming ground and pound where, he's like, it's like Joe Riggs against Kendall Grove or something in Hawaii. That's an old man reference, but if you've never seen that one, check that out. Joe Riggs fucking drove his face through the floor. I couldn't believe his head didn't pop like a pimple based on what Joe Riggs was doing to him. Okay, Sean Brady doesn't necessarily have that, but he was abusing him on the floor, and you could see the will being taken from him through the course of that fight. And we're going to talk about that third round because I honestly think that what really happened there was Brady took his confidence from him. And that was just desperation. I'm not going to say he necessarily wanted out, but I think he knew what he was in for at that point. And maybe that's just why he punted, because there is no other explanation that you could possibly offer for what is supposed to be an elite prize fighter to do something like that. I mean, just the worst, like terrible decision. But getting back to Sean Brady, that was a terrifying performance. I cannot overstate to you. You saw Leon recognize the windows to at least attempt getting up off of an underhook, trying to create back to chest asymmetry, all these things that you can see where trying to sit his hips out to one side, trying to sit up, are you trying to use the underhook? Because if you just underhook, it's not enough. You got to use the underhook and then sit up at the same time. Your head position has to be there. All these things have to be in conjunction. And every time he would sit into it, you could see Leon would be there for the underhook, and it didn't matter because Brady was already there a split second ahead of time and then able to drape his weight over him. And that is a science, folks, because if you drape too far, you can get rolled. If you don't drape enough, they'll scoot their hips out. They can sit up. They can frame out. They can do all kinds of stuff. You have to kind of get just right in the way in which you sit in these positions. And he was dragged. And this is what I love. We were talking about, could he follow the Bilal Muhammad game plan? To an extent, not off the same shot that you saw. I don't know if that was necessarily in play, although I think he did have one, that last one, which was the same side. But you know what? Actually, I think that last one was the same. Remember, we talked about it with Bilal Muhammad. How was he able to get Leon down? Again, if you were watching the broadcast previously, I've already mentioned this, and I mentioned it on yesterday's MK, right ear to the right hip of Leon, because that right hand, what Bilal's team told me that they had recognized was he just doesn't get it involved in the framing or the down blocking or the underhooking. If you can get to the opposite side of it, that means you can probably get your hands locked. If you get your hands locked, well, you can give him frequent flyer miles, which is exactly what Muhammad did. That last takedown that you saw from Sean Brady looked pretty similar to that, although not the same kind of explosive shot in that way. But this was the point. In round two, he didn't do that. He gets behind him, puts the feet in, or I should say, breaks the knees, not like literally breaks them, but I mean like he has to bend them now, right? Because you see the insteps essentially of Sean Brady behind them. So it cracks him down, or breaks him down, I should say, because a crackdown is different. And then he hooks the far side one, uses that to roll Edwards over and then come up on top. And then once he's on top, holy smokes. I mean, you are in a coffin. Dude, fighting Sean Brady where you're on bottom half guard and you're trying to get up, it's like being buried alive. Like it's over for you. It's bad. He's ridiculously good there. He makes it look effortless. It is not effortless. It is all about having just the right position and knowing where all of the right places to be are to both balance yourself as well as to pin them, as well as to then find opportunities for submissions. Because you can find guys who can kind of put their weight in control. You can find guys who have good top pins, but maybe they do the top pinning at the expense of, they're not really able to find the choke or the limb extension, right? But that's not Sean Brady. I want to point out he went for the Kimura, didn't get it, but that's a limb extension or at least a limb manipulation choke, and that wasn't the one he went for in the end. The one he went for in the end was a choke. So you have a guy who's got, I would say, good takedowns, who has phenomenal grappling. In the second round, he used to take the back, but after that, what did he do? No, did he? Yes, the second round he went to take the back, much like Bilal Muhammad did, but after that, he didn't do that. After that, he then went for top pins. And so that was just all Sean Brady. So to answer the question, did Sean Brady learn from Bilal Muhammad? Yes, but eventually it all fed back into all of his strong suits: top pins, half guard, to an extent the back, rides, Turks, the whole 9 yards. And that's all on top. And then again, from there, ground and pound, from there, a limb manipulation submission, from there, a choking submission, all while maintaining top control. Dude, to do that against somebody as good, because he is good, and as experienced a fighter and grappler as Leon Edwards is, to make him look like he is stuck underneath there like a mouse caught in a glue trap. And while you're able to top pin and then add these submissions and then add ground and pound on top of it, and basically never lose position. Not really. There's a little bit of scrambling, but not really. Not for the most part. Is absurd. High level black belt. High level. And a game, I might add, suited for MMA. Top pins. I mean, to be good at top pinning, and I mean, look at what he was doing from half guard, draping his weight over the top on that fourth round, using his head to post off of the mat, and then using that to give himself the leeway to reach behind on that guillotine, not getting it at first, kind of screw driving it in, and then using the other hand off the assist while you're balancing off of your forehead and then your hips to drive in to create the pressure forward with a little bit of torque on the same side. Dude, these are difficult skills to integrate and to do it against quality opposition in that way. And he dominated Leon Edwards. He dominated him. There is a vast difference in grappling ability between the two on the ground. A vast difference. Not close. Not close at all. That looked to me like almost a blue or purple belt against a black belt. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it's an accurate representation of what they were, but like that's what like if you're ever in a gym and you're watching the two people of those respective levels roll, it looks like that. It looks like that. Wide disparity in ability. Amazing performance from Sean Brady. Took his time. Took a little bit of shots in the first round in terms of like, he was kind of lunging in a little bit, and Leon was tagging him with elbows, and then tagging him with a couple of, straights or crosses as he was doing it. But it wasn't too costly, and ultimately he was able to use that to find that level change to find an entry into a takedown and then begin to work from there. And then, of course, after that, it was, big bank, take little bank, 84s and candy paint. I mean, that was a beating. That was a beating. Again, not like Habib, like where their faces, they're going to have to get the end swell on it. But like just in terms of what one guy could do to the other, that was ridiculous. Now, I'm going to come back to the stats here because you guys know I like to take a look at the stats. We got to talk about Leon Edwards. First round, I thought he looked good. I thought it looked fine, for what it was. He had a good answer in the clinch. By the way, I didn't even mention this. Look at the variety of takedowns that Sean Brady had. He had from the back, making the knees bend from Edwards, right? Getting behind him and then breaking his posture back. That's one. The Sasai he hit in round one. That was another one. He hits double legs. That was another one. Like he's got all these different little entries to find his way in. So Leon looked good in the first. He looked to be in good physical condition. And we had said this on Friday's MK, which was, okay, here we have a case of somebody who had a lot of excuses after his last loss. I'm sorry, he just did. There was an injury. It was 5 a.m, and fine. Like, I don't think it's a good idea to have these guys fight at 5 a.m. I don't think that's like a great thing. But at the same time, that's the only reason that you lost. You know what I mean? Like, could it be that Muhammad was better? Is that a lesson that we can draw? I don't think that was the lesson that Edwards was saying this week. He beats him 9 times out of 10. Okay, he won that one. We fought 10 more times. 9 more times, I should say. He'd win. Who believes that? I don't believe that. I mean, I'm not saying he wouldn't win one. I'm sure, or maybe several. But like, you're going to win the next 9? No, you're not. No, you're not. Muhammad's going to win a bunch of those too. Like, perhaps even the majority, perhaps even all of them, but maybe not. Like, he's going to win the majority. You understand my point? Like, very dismissive of the idea that like one of the big takeaways was that Belal was better. Well, what does he have to say now? I even said I got real sick of the excuses he was offering, and it kind of felt like it was one of those moments where it was Antonio Tarver looking at Roy Jones in the face of the rematch. Got any excuses tonight, Roy? Got any excuses tonight? And then he goes out there and he smokes Roy Jones Jr., which like nobody did at that time, but he did. I kind of felt like we were in a similar situation. You're in the headlining role. You have faced numerous grapplers, right? Again, Brady's different, but at the same time, you had faced Belal Muhammad. You had faced Colby Covington. You had faced Kamaru Usman. A bunch of these guys he had to face of a similar ilk. You couldn't say you didn't have at least a lot of time to prep for this particular style of opponent. He did. And he got dominated even worse. They corrected the time. Again, they gave him an opportunity to, get one back against a similar kind of opponent, and it went even worse than it did the last time. That round 3 decision, to me, is an all-time. I mean, I don't even know. I can't. Okay, let's talk. Why the hell would he do that? Why would Leon Edwards in round 3 shoot on Sean Brady after getting dominated in the second round? Dominated position. At a bare minimum, dominated positionally. Like, and did I not say after watching round 2, I was like, there's a difference. But if you guys were watching the live stream, there's a difference between these two blokes. Like, there is a world of difference in their ability. Okay, fine. He doesn't want to do that. He shoots on Sean Brady, gets to stand for a second. Sean Brady off the front headlock, snaps him back down. Eventually it goes to the back and then rolls him over, and then I think was very quickly almost in mount at that point. That decision from Leon Edwards can only really have 2 explanations. One, he just makes, like, your judgment is bad, right? That's one interpretation. Like, you have incredibly bad judgment. That's one, because like there's no way to say that that's good or neutral. That was all time bad. Even if you survive the round, and he did survive the round, you're now giving this guy another round to like bag in the books if he needs it for, again, down the stretch. You're adding to his confidence. You're adding to your own fatigue. You're adding for him understanding how you're going to answer. By the way, like, as you roll and you're trying to find an underhook on all of these different escapes or these different moments where you're in the various parts of the sequences, as you're doing all of that, you're telling him what your defense looks like. You're letting him get a feel for it, which means the next time you go for that, it's going to get shut down even quicker. Okay, so you gave all of that to him. So one explanation can be just his judgment is poor beyond words. That's one interpretation. The other interpretation is that he already had his confidence taken from him and, not exactly looking for a way out, but not exactly looking for a way in either, right? It's not like it wasn't like quitting right there or something, but, kind of knew which way the wind was going to blow on that evening and just decided to, facilitate it to an easier degree or something. It can only be one of those two. What else could there be to making such a calamitously bad decision? All-time bad for UFC main events. Seriously. That's Cyril gone bad. And that's bad. That's like, what the fuck are we doing? That's how bad that is. That's how insanely indefensible that decision is at this moment in time. This is what I mean when I say once someone loses the title, sometimes they get it back. Couture got it back. Shevchenko got it back. You can find situations. Izzy got it back briefly, right? You can find guys who get it back. But once that breaks, it's almost impossible to put it back together again. And even if you put it back together, it's hard to hold for much longer. Izzy got it back after one, then lost it right after that, right? That's what I'm talking about. Once that comes apart, you can't put it hardly back together very quickly, to the point where I'm wondering, like, knowing that, understanding that, and then electing to shoot on this fucking gorilla who has the grappling IQ of, I mean, I'm not saying he's on par grappling wise with Mikey Musumeci, but like, that's a very good grappler in Sean Brady. Sean Brady, granted, they had adjusted the rules about leg locks, but Sean Brady went to a tie, I believe, with Craig Jones. Right? That's who we're talking about here. And you shoot on this guy. And by the way, wasn't even a good shot, by the way. I mean, I get the whole idea, I'm going to surprise him from that far away. No, you're not. And then once you shoot, if it doesn't work, you have to have immediately to back to your feet to start scrambling again. You cannot sit there. You cannot stay there. And he stayed there. I mean, I don't know what's in Leon's heart. I don't know. I have no clue. I'm not a mind reader. I'm not Miss Cleo. It's hard to look at something like that and be like, and not at least ask the question, was he just laying down because he knew what was up that night? That you had to go up against this dude and it was just going to be real bad for you. I don't know. All I know is I don't know what motivated him. I cannot say. So I am forced to speculate. What I can say is if you're trying to win, that's indefensible. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, indefensible. I'm talking about it because I cannot believe he did that. I truly am I'm shocked. And I've seen him do that before against other guys, but it wasn't, Kamaru Usman might be tough to get out from underneath, but he's not going to do to you what Sean Brady's going to do. Sean Brady is going to make you carry his weight, and he's going to hunt for submissions or positional advancement the entire time. Kamaru's happy to have control positions where he'll work on you, but there'll be a break in the action. You can break his grips, and you can kind of stand, or there's ways. He did get around it. But dude, that's to do that, to try to against a guy like this, an all-time what the fuck are you doing decision. Especially because I'm going back before, what was Leon doing? He was intercepting him as he was trying to close distance, trying to close ranks. I mean, Jesus, hold on, let me text my wife here. Let's do this. Okay. Let's take a look at some of the stats because I want to see these. This is going to be interesting. I'm hoping that everything has been, man, dude, he mauled this fucking guy. He mauled him. Take a look at this. Here, I'll show it to you. Take a look at this. Yeah, here we go. All right, let me do it like this. Yeah. Take a look at this, boys and girls. Let's go per round, shall we? First of all, just from an overview, Leon attempted, there's that one takedown. I can't fucking believe he did that. I can't fucking believe he did that. Oh my God. If I was his coach, obviously he just lost. You want to be nice to him, but when it's time to talk about what happened, you better be reading him the fucking riot act about that. Indefensible. So, okay. Sean Brady, 5 of 7 takedowns. That is a tremendous. Got the one sub attempt. I mean, it really was kind of more than that, but I don't know how Fight Metric counts it. Okay. First round, I thought Leon probably took that one. Fine. 20-19 total of significant strikes. Again, these are quantitative totals, not qualitative. And Brady was a little bit more active in the overall volume of stuff. He did get a takedown. He had about less than a minute control time, but okay, fine. But there was none of that. Look at round. Let me pull it back here. Look at round 2. Blanked him. 0 out of 0. Nothing. Look at this. Look at Leon Edwards' stat line in round 2. No knockdowns, no significant strikes, no total strikes, no takedowns, no sub attempts, no reversals, no control time. Dude, he gave him zeros across every statistical measurement that Fight Metric uses. Every single one blanked him. And he comes out in round 3 and shoots? How? How do you make that decision? How? Let's go back and look at the numbers. Look at that, dude. Absolute, doesn't get more dominant than that, at least in terms of grappling. Control time, 457. 457. 457. Round 3, not much better. There's that one takedown attempt, which I just cannot believe he did. 3 significant strikes to 14. Not a torrential downpour of offense in terms of that. A lot of these 86 are just busy shots. Fine. 1 of 2 takedowns. He didn't need much more. And he gets 4 minutes plus of control time. Round 4, this is where he closed the show. Once again, at least he attempted 2 significant strikes here. But that stat line is almost a 0 all the way across. He just gets credit for attempting 2 different strikes, which, by the way, none of them landed. Meanwhile, Sean Brady, again, not a torrential downpour of strikes, but at least gets 5. He attempts 12 out of 18, or I should say lands 12 out of 18, gets 1 takedown, gets the submission, and then he has a minute of control time. It didn't go that much longer. What time did it end? It ended 1:39. So it ended 1:39. He gets 1:10. So there was basically 20 seconds, not even of round time that didn't include Sean Brady being on top, pinning him basically. Domination in every way that jiu-jitsu can be, and wrestling, the combination can be dominant. I mean, I'm not sure what there even is to say about the targeting. I'll show it to you. I don't think there's really any big takeaway here. This is what they're targeting, whether they landed or not is what they attempted on. I mean, dude, look at some of these. I mean, again, pretty close first round, whatever. And then after that, Brady was like, yeah, I've had enough of this. I've had enough. I cannot get over this. 0 out of 0, 0. Nothing to measure here. 0 out of 0. 0 out of 0. Nothing to measure here. Again, that's going to be takedown percentage. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And then round 4, 0, 0 out of 2. Okay, still 0 out of 2, but at least he attempted 0, 0 out of 2, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Sean Brady worked Leon Edwards like a summer job tonight. That's what he did. Worked him over. Unbelievable. So now you have to ask yourself, what's going to be next? I don't know if they're going to give him a title shot. Dana White was in attendance. You guys will know from here. I can't say. Let's see if anyone's texting me about it. By the way, BC is texting me right now. That's hilarious. BC's calling the fights tonight on Amazon, for folks who don't know. He's calling the fights tonight. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I'm not in shock that Brady looked that good. I've been waiting for him to turn that corner. I feel pretty vindicated about that. I'm in shock about Leon. I have respect for him as a fighter. Obviously, he's a freaking welterweight champion. You're doing something right. But that performance tonight, man, I can't wait to see what people say about that. I haven't even had a chance to look, but I suspect it won't be too kind. So what should be next? Well, they're waiting on Shavkat. Bilal has a fight with JDM, obviously, in May. UFC 315. I guess we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. Does JDM win? I doubt there'll be a rematch, depending on what happens there, but one never knows. Shavkat's supposed to have next. Sean's kind of waiting in the wings. If we look at the rankings, so I'll show it to you now. If you look at the rankings, let's go down here. This is the ranking. So Leon sitting at 1, that's going to switch. Shavkat at 2, Kamaru at 3. I don't know why he's still sitting at 3. Jack at 4, Sean at 5. Sean's going to jump here. I don't know if he's going to leapfrog Shavkat. It might push Shavkat 1 and pushes him to 2, but he's going to be right behind it. So maybe you do Brady Kamaru if you have to. I don't know if you have to. I don't know if Brady waits around and then this decides like I'm going to get a title shot later, so it's no big deal. I don't exactly know. I don't know how that's going to go, but that is an interesting thing to watch. As for Leon Edwards, I mean, so Leon sitting at 1. This might drop him out of the top 5. Joaquin Buckley is an interesting fight. Ian Gary's an interesting fight. Gilbert Burns is an interesting fight. You can do Colby. Oh, fuck that. I don't want to see that again. But some of those are some interesting fights. He's still going to be in interesting fights, but I really, 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 really hope that after 2 performances in his home country, granted, not always under the best circumstances. Maybe he did have staff recently, blah, blah, blah. Maybe he didn't like performing at 5 a.m. I would not either. But he had 2 chances now. 2 chances against guys with similar styles. And it went from bad to worse. And I'm going to say it one more time. This was a guy claiming, I beat Bilal 9 times out of 10. No, you don't. No, the fuck you don't. No, you don't. I'm not saying he couldn't beat him if they rematched, but 9 times out of 10, absolutely no shot in hell that is true. Okay. If you have a question about that or a comment, fire it into the super chat and we'll get it. Going down the results, we'll come back to it at the Q&A portion of this. Carlos Ulberg defeating Jan Blachowicz. I don't even know what to say about this. We'll look at some of the stats here in just a second. I don't know what to say about that. I thought Jan Blachowicz won. The judges did not. The judges had it 29-28 across the board. Now, I've not seen, you know what? Let me pull up the scorecard. Let's take a look at the scorecards because I wonder if they have any unanimity on this. Let's see. I'll pull this up so you guys can see it over here. What did the judges say about that? Let's take a look. So the judges have it. What are we doing here? Here. Let's blow that up a little bit. Okay. Can we see here a little bit better? Yes. There we go. Okay. Ben Cartilage had round 1 for Blachowicz, rounds 2 and 3 for Ulberg. That's the if you're gonna give it to Ulberg, I think that's the right scorecard. Okay, David Letheby gives rounds 1 and 2 to Blachowicz. Okay, and then interestingly, Vito Pai, I don't even know how you pronounce his last name because I don't know where he's from. He gives, so the judges, the only round they had agreed on was round 2 for Ulberg. Fine. I also thought that was Ulberg's best round, but they were all over the place. This was, as you can see by the judges' results here, this was a very close fight. This was a very close fight. If you look at the stat totals here, you can take a look at them as well. Ulberg was a little bit busier. I don't know if he landed the better volume. Neither got a takedown. There was no control time per se. Blachowicz slightly ahead numerically. You can see there's a big difference in terms of the workload around 2. And then Ulberg was just a little bit busier. But look at the targeting by both of them. Just like a quarter each to the head. A little bit more for Ulberg a little bit more for Blachowicz to the body. And then Ulberg, 2 out of every 3 strikes was targeted to the legs. It was a leg kicking fest. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I thought, it is a nice win for Ulberg. I thought that Blachowicz for 42 and being gone for 2 years, coming off of surgeries, I thought all things being equal still looked pretty good, but maybe not like right back to what he was. And how could you be? I'm not like dogging him for it. Like I don't, we have to be understanding of like the medical obstacles he was facing and then just kind of where he is as an athlete. And again, also time off. Those things create for difficulties. So maybe his next performance he'll look a lot better, but he did look to me like he slowed down a lot as the fight went on, and Ulberg was able to just, kind of outwork him. And that's really my biggest takeaway from it. Ulberg, as I said during the live broadcast, it doesn't look to me like he's got a ton of different weapons. He's got a few really good ones, But if he doesn't land those, he kind of has to just chip away at what is available. And, that's going to make for close contests and not especially exciting ones. And that's kind of what you got here. But, listen, Blachowicz is also a hard guy to look good against. I think we would all agree with that too. It's tough to look good against him. He has stout defense. He doesn't get hit super cleanly all that often. And when he does, he's got a pretty good chin. And oh, by the way, he's got big power. Power is the last thing to go, And there was a couple times he did land on Ulberg, and I thought that was pretty important. But Ulberg, good lateral movement. That was the key, I think, ultimately keeping the kickboxing range, and then just putting volume out there. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't essentially, he gets the win. Like, I feel like shit because he beats Oezdemir and then he beats Blachowicz. These are good wins. These are not bullshit opponents. These are good opponents. These are very good opponents. And he got the job done. And I really think we have to kind of say, like, whatever you think about Ulberg, those are no bullshit additions to his resume. At the same time, if we're just being honest, I didn't necessarily see anyone that I thought was going to give Ankalaev big problems. Styles make fights, could be wrong, or Poatan. I didn't necessarily pick up on that from this. So I feel bad saying that because, in the case of Leon just made trash decision, and that I feel like he should be widely condemned. Well, condemned is a strong word, but criticized for. Carlos didn't. He stuck to his game. It's a good game. It's not an overwhelming game, but it's a good game. And he found a way to win in advance. And at this stage, light heavyweight kind of needs that. But I think probably maybe many of the reactions you might have is, okay, close fight. Ulberg literally out-labored him. But where do we go from here with that? Like, what does that really mean for us? It probably means title shot, but it's not like somebody like marching through the division, right? Collecting good wins. These are valuable. These are credible. These are important, but they're not mandates. He didn't fucking plant a flag and go, my fucking division. Like, you didn't get that, right? And that can't be every time, especially against opponents like this. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but whatever. A point I'll say this about Jan Blachowicz. I actually felt like not the best performance, but did you feel like he couldn't get good wins against somebody else going forward? I didn't see that. I think he could. Folks were saying, could they give Carlos Ulberg to Yuri Prochazka? I don't think so, because they just need title contenders, and that would be a good fight, and I would favor Yuri to win that one. But I just feel like they're going to want a fresh contender up in there, like they're going to just call someone out of the bullpen who needs a couple of innings kind of thing, which I would imagine most of you would understand. So listen, he did what he needed to do to get ahead of a difficult opponent. And that's important. Like, sometimes you got to win rounds the ugly way, and he did. But I just didn't see anybody that's going to win a title necessarily tonight. All right. What else we have here? Kevin Holland defeating Gunnar Nelson, 29-28. Let me say this about Kevin Holland. And I said this on Friday's MK, and I want to repeat it here. Dude, Kevin Holland is a good fighter. He's a good fighter. He's not just an active fighter. He's not just a fighter like, he'll show up and he'll give you a good fight. And, maybe he wins, maybe. No. When that dude wants to be, he's a good fighter. His guard retention here in that first round in particular, threatening off the omoplata, but not really getting past, trying to go for triangles. Like, it's going to be hard to submit somebody who is as good at grappling as Gunnar Nelson is. It's going to be tough. Like, okay, you're probably not going to submit him. But he made him work, and he kept him honest. And he didn't get into big trouble, like, while being offensive off of his back. And not just offensive with his legs from the guard, but, he was hammer fisting from the back and stuff like that. Like, he was trying. I thought he won the first round doing that, to be perfectly honest. I didn't know what Gunnar Nelson was really doing. And also, by the way, he dropped him with that 1-2 down the middle at the end of the first. So, like, that was impressive as well. Now, I thought Gunnar Nelson, I think, had a better second round. I forget. I'd have to go back and look at we can pull up the stats here. Let me see. But I thought his takedown defense from Kevin Holland looked pretty good. He didn't panic underneath. As I mentioned, he was, for the most part, he got in trouble one time. There was positional advancement from the mount and then to the back, I thought, from Gunnar Nelson. But he eventually was able to scramble out of that. He, again, was threatening with his guard, not like the most threatening guard ever, but enough to keep Gunnar Nelson, like, honest if he's not really careful. Dude, he came to win. He only shit-talked him when they were standing up on that omoplata. briefly. Other than that, he was focused. He kept his head down. Putting Kevin Holland, and I hate to be a meme, but like motivated 170 Kevin Holland, not this 185 bullshit, but at 170, dude, that's a good fighter. He's a well-rounded, good fighter. He's experienced as hell. As Long Island Luke told us on Friday, 20 fights he had in the span where Gunnar Nelson had 5. Dude, he's experienced, well-rounded, skillful, dangerous, tough. That's a very good fighter in Kevin Holland. And this was a really good performance. Dude, look at some of these numbers here. I'll show them to you. These are great from Kevin Holland. Look at this. 55 significant strikes landed to the 15, 138 of 30. Now, there was the sub attempt. He did get 3 takedowns. Gunnar Nelson did. He got 1 in each round. But you can see, like, it was dicey after that for a little while. By the way, I have to say Gunnar Nelson, too, as you guys notice, he tries to get him twisted off the body lock to then rip him to the floor. It doesn't work. So the second and third time he tries it, he just added the trip to it, and it worked both times. That was how he moved to mount, I think, in the last time he did it. So that was pretty impressive. But Kevin Holland outstriking him all 3 rounds, 19-5. Again, numerically, 17-3, 19-7. Avoiding the worst, even when Gunnar Nelson had 3+ minutes of control time in almost in all 3 rounds. I didn't know what to expect from Gunnar Nelson, who'd been off for a long time and, is not necessarily the most dangerous threat. He can be dangerous when there's a real big skill differential, but when it's close, it tends to get smoothed out. I thought Kevin Holland performed very ably in this one. I wasn't sure if they were going to give it to him because there was, a couple of times in that 3rd round where it got real close, real hairy. I thought, between positional control and what he was doing on the feet, but luckily the judges were good. I definitely thought he deserved to win. I just didn't know if the judges were going to give it to him, but they did. Phenomenal job by Kevin Holland. Dude, if Kevin Holland performs like this, I don't know exactly how far he can go in this division when you've got guys like Shavkat and Brady and JDM and Bilal. It's tough. I mean, you got some hammers in this division, But he's a hammer too when he wants to be. Certainly you can see at a bare minimum when he applies himself and he makes a good decision about what weight class to compete in. He's tough. He's tough. That's a good fighter, man. Good guard, good scrambling, good chin, powerful striking, good use of range, not scared, not deterred. That's a tough guy to beat. And, dude, I'm going to say it one more time, the takedown defense. He stopped 7 of 10 takedowns, and like the way he was able to sit his hips back and then, chain it all together. I thought that was very impressive by Kevin Holland. I really, really thought this was a standout performance by him. So great job by him. And hard to say exactly what's next for him, but clearly a motivated C-level Kane, a 170 dialed in Kevin Holland is a force to be reckoned with. I think that's quite fair. Alexia Tainara defeating Molly McCann was dancing like she won the lottery on the way out to the cage. And I think, what did she do? She dropped McCann and then ultimately finished her off, right? She got from the back, rear naked choke. McCann retired afterwards. And by the way, she almost had it with one hand and couldn't quite get it, and then was able to, on a subsequent attempt, get the job done. And by the way, I think she was even able, McCann was trying to submit it underneath. She avoided it, and then she goes to then work her game, and then she got the sub in the end. So, pretty good UFC debut on short notice for Alexia Tainara. Chris Duncan defeating Jordan Vucenic via guillotine choke. Here is another decision. Dude, what the fuck was he doing? Jordan Vucenic loses the first round to, a tough Chris Duncan. Fine. Duncan had the better grappling. In the second round, you can see he's starting to heat up with the jab, and it's landing. And you can see Duncan is kind of there to be hit a little bit. He's moving, he's trying, but Vucenic has good movement on the feet, and he's starting to heat up a little bit. Then decides to not only shoot, but shoot from 8 million miles away. It, of course, gets stuffed, but somehow he gets back to his feet. It wasn't super costly, a la in the case of Leon Edwards. And then after that, shoots again. But this time, understand something. When you shoot, you have to have a straight back, kind of like this. It won't be perfectly vertical, but kind of like this. And you definitely don't want to be hunched over. You got to have a strong back, strong posture, right? And Craig Jones has talked about this. In MMA, you don't have to do that. You can kind of go with a bad, just leaning over at the waist, because you can just run someone back into the fence. That's one of the benefits of MMA. But one of the downsides, of course, is that someone can guillotine you. Well, of course, he gets fucking guillotined. Why was he shooting?
He was winning on the feet. It made no sense. And he even got a get out of jail free card when the first takedown failed and we were able to get back to their feet. Like, dude, Jordan Vucenic is a good fighter, but that was inexplicably bad to do it not once, but twice. And of course he paid for it. Shocker. He paid for it. Terrible. And then Nathaniel Wood, by the way, who's looking good at featherweight, beating Morgan Charrier. I'm sure I'm saying his name wrong. 30-27 across the board. I thought he looked like just the better guy overall. Again, that Sean O'Bannon defeating Puja Tomar. I cannot believe Tomar just gave the armbar. Just gave it. Just you can have it, you know. And I'm not I don't think she literally did that, but the practical effect of it was that. I just can't believe how bad that was. But okay. So that was your card. All together, not a bad main card, actually pretty good, and some real breakout performances. Certainly in the case of Nathaniel Wood putting together an overall good body of work at featherweight, but Sean Brady, I think, really showing up. All right, if you've got something for the super chat, fire it in. We'll take a look at those, and then we'll go from there. All right. This card has been full of low IQ moments. Yes, it has. It was some real strange decisions. Avant says, such a bad decision right after breaking away, too. We're talking about Leon. I don't know what. Dude, all-time bad. All-time bad. Herat says, Sean strong as fuck Brady versus Gary for next after Shavkat. You could do that. They have the same manager. Sean Brady called him out. That is a thing you could do. I would be okay with it. I don't know what the UFC wants. And I think he might say no because now he's getting real close to the title, and Gary's coming off of a loss, but we'll see. Paul says, Luke, I can believe Eve how bad because he sucks. Nevertheless finished anyone. I don't think he ever beat a guy younger than him. I don't know who the fuck we're talking about. Leon Edwards. There's a lot of autocorrect could have helped you here. I don't know. I appreciate the donation, but I'm having a hard time parsing this. Liam says, I would be a world-class cornerman. No, I wouldn't. That's a nice thing to say, but no, I wouldn't. Ever had an opportunity? I've had the opportunity to corner guys, but not at the UFC level. I would pay good money to watch you scream, what the fuck are you doing in a fighter's face? Well, I mean, most of the time I'm in no position to say anything. Somebody who knows more than me defend that. Oh, I would love to hear that. They're going to be just twisted into the worst kinds of logic to make that work. I underestimated Brady, but he just can't punch. That is going to be a weakness. He's not necessarily got dynamite hands, but there's a lot of other things he can do. Saul says, just got home from a block party. Did Leon show his strength advantage? Yeah, not exactly. Leon had the balls this week to argue that he had the technical advantage and the strength advantage. Dude, what are you talking about? This is what I mean. He didn't absorb any of the lessons from the loss to Muhammad. Muhammad read him. And that's why you saw Muhammad this week being like, Sean Brady is going to beat him because he just didn't learn any lessons. Muhammad was right. Ant says, I never forgave Edwards for claiming to be the first UK champ. If he had 1/10 of Bisping's heart, he wouldn't have quit all the time like this. Yeah, I mean, well, in fairness to him, almost nobody has Michael Bisping's heart. I mean, that's a very, very special level of, gameness, right? Gameness is defined as pursuit of the fight despite the physical consequences. That's Michael Bisping, There's just never, you have to turn the lights off. Otherwise, he's just going to keep going. Okay, not everybody can be that. But the gap between them is fairly significant, I think. I think. Mordetsky says, Sean did eat a few shots closing in. Absolutely. No doubt about it. You think someone like Bilal or Shavkat can capitalize on that? Yes, especially Shavkat. That is dangerous. He's going to have to work on that. That is something Leon was able to find. It wasn't costly in the end. But absolutely, that is a real weakness. No question about it. This gentleman writes, how do you see Brady versus Bilal going down? That's a tougher one. Bilal is going to be tough to get down. And if you can't get him down, that's going to be, who do I think has the better grappling overall? I think Brady has the better grappling. But who's got better pure wrestling? It might be Bilal. So it's tough. It's tough. It's tough. It's a tough call. And again, Eric just out here gifting memberships. But I would love to see it. I'd love to see a rematch. Dawood says, if Shavkat doesn't fight the winner of Bilal JDM, then I'd love to see him fight Brady. Agreed. Totally. Liam says, where does George Foreman sit in heavyweight greats? I mean, at the head table. At the head table. Rest in peace to Big George Foreman, man. One of the three most important heavyweight boxers maybe ever. Certainly one of the three most important of his generation, which was the best generation of heavyweights ever. One of the most important boxers ever. One of the arguably, now there's many you could pick, but if you're talking about the best comeback stories in all of sports, Foreman coming back and beating Michael Moore at 45. Guys, I'm 45. George Foreman won a world fucking title against a good fighter in Michael Moore at my age. Holy shit. My back hurts when I sleep too much in the wrong position. What are we talking about? And he won a fucking... I'm 45. He won a world title at my age. Incredible. Incredible. We'll have more to say about him on Monday's MK. Leon's mid. Changed my mind. No, he's not mid. But he made some less than mid decisions. Ugh. Ray says, Brady probably needs one more due to Shavkat being next after JDM. Buckley, you could do that one. I would love that one. Absolutely. I think that's a way harder fight because Buckley will move forward. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. There's a lot of... Dude, no, I mean... Once you're at the stage that Sean Brady's at, where you're ascended into the top 5, basically, and maybe even the high top 5 of 170, you're only fighting hammers after that. Like, you're only fighting hammers. Like, there's no, that's it, you know? Zach says, Leon talking dismissive on Brady all week gave it away for me. He's short, but he's strong as hell. Guys, I cannot overstate this. Brady isn't just strong. Brady is highly technical. Highly technical. So he's got high-level technique, and he's strong. Dude, that is a terrifying thing to go up against. Terrifying. Did you see Aspinall in the crowd holding a yellow rubber duck? No, I missed that. That is awesome. LOL at Bilal's ex right now. So hilarious. Is he shitting on Leon? Good, because, dude, Leon brought it on himself. Leon has nothing to say at this point. Harpy says, I can't see Leon winning another top 10 fight. No, I can see that, but top 5, I don't know. Spaghetti God, bro, Sean Brady beat Craig Jones. He might be the best jits grappler in the UFC right now. He might be. Now, they handicapped Craig in that fight or match. They handicapped him. But yes, like, I thought it was a draw. He beat him. Either way, they did handicap Craig on some of the rules. But even with that, that's still impressive as shit. Johnston says, Ilya, you'll have to step aside and step down and let Brady handle your light work and Charles Oliveira. Do you think that could be an interesting fight if Brady loses the next fight in welterweight? I mean, is Charles even talking about that? I mean, I wouldn't hate seeing it for the reasons we all understand, grappler versus grappler. But also Brady's real big. Like, you know, I don't know. Lewis says, can you and BC do a resume review on Big George? That's it. You know what? I'll ask. It's hard to get studio time, but I'll ask. Padre says, Leon shot due to dismissing Sean. Arrogance. Dude, if that's the answer, then I mean, wow. Talk about being hoisted by your own petard. I mean, that is comeuppance. Christian out here gifting memberships. Thank you, sir. How interested are you in Islam versus a Brady fight? I mean, that's not the fight to make right now. Grappling match would be kind of cool, but that's not the fight to make right now. Leon, Gary, Brady, Shav, Buckley, Usman, Brady, all better than Shavkat. I don't agree, but until they fight, it's hard to say. But I definitely don't agree. Adam, there were 0... Wait, did I read that one wrong? No, I think... Well, I'm not sure if you're saying like these are matchups that should get ahead. Like the winner of Leon, Gary, and then the... No, I'm not exactly sure. There were 0 KOs and TKOs tonight. Do you remember the last time this happened? You'd have to ask Fight Metric, but probably it's been a while. Not many UFC cards are quite like that. Algorithmic says they showed Ilya as champion because he doesn't technically vacate until Volk. Oh, I see. Okay, good call. You're right. Paul says Shavkat Brady title eliminator UFC 317. I don't know if Shavkat is going to want that, but I wouldn't hate that. Check what's at Bilal quotes. Oh, okay. Here we go. Oh, he's going bananas. Headshot dead. Sean copied my homework to an extent. Leon's going to need a big motivational speech. this round. Just how good is Bilal Muhammad? Leon still on 5 a.m. time zone. Don't let him bully you, son. What time is it in London? Asking for Leon. Dude, that is amazing. Amazing. He had it coming, bro. I don't feel for him. He had it coming. He had it coming. He talked all that shit. He had it coming. Brady ground and pound was vicious. Think he would be fucked up on the back foot, though. T-Rex arms would get picked apart. Yeah, I mean, there are definitely circumstances where, you know, his game is not going to shine. And I think that in that circumstance, it is one. But he did a good job of avoiding it today, did he not? Jackhammer says, what do you think of... and her prospects at UFC, I've not seen enough. Her wrestling looks top-notch until she got outdone by Stamp. She even dropped out of the Olympics to focus. I've not seen enough to give you an accurate answer. I apologize. Luke, you're watching the PBC card. I will, but I got to hang out with my family a bit. But BC's on the call. Ever seen a shutout round like that in the UFC? So, yes, I have seen another case like that. You ready for this one? I've got one for you. And in fact, the guys at Fight Metric have a name for it. They call it getting punked. Here it is. Well, it's not a full zero. It's kind of a zero. Look. Stat lines. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Now, that's the whole fight. Obviously, that wasn't the whole fight. But this was Mickey Gall and CM Punk. CM Punk did obviously nothing, right? 0. Oh, yeah, Mickey Gall had, you know, let's go per round here. Yeah, round 1. I mean, you know, it just went real badly for him. So all the way across. So the whole fight that went that way. But you're asking if I've ever seen it before. Yeah, CM Punk. Like, that's how bad you have to get dominated. Crazy. Fair to say, no guarantee even Shavkat beats Brady. I mean, dude, if Brady gets him to the ground, he's going to be tough to beat for anybody. You know, including Shavkat. Is Guram not that guy? Dude, he didn't look that great. I think the weight cuts and everything else, maybe injuries, he's just, he doesn't look like himself, or what the guy I thought was there. What the fuck is Kamaru doing? Is he just a podcaster now? We need him versus Buckley. That'd be a great fight too. All right. Thank you everyone for joining me. What an interesting night. What an interesting night. I appreciate it. I'm out. We'll have more coverage tomorrow and then Monday, MK on Monday. BC is calling the fights on PBC tonight. You're asking, I don't want to pay for pay-per-view. Who's even fighting? Free. Well, it's not free, but free with Amazon Video. There's no pay-per-view. It's just Amazon. And so you can go check it out. BC's on the call tonight in Las Vegas. Sebastian Fundora taking on some donk. He's much bigger than. I forget the other guy's name. Kev says, do you think Jake Paul will try and set up a George? Do you think Jake Paul will try and set up a George Foreman fight now? He might. All right. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. We're out of here. Have a great night. Until next time, stay frosty. We're done. Bye.